Welcome to Everyday English Talk. If you want to learn English while sleeping or working, then this channel is for you. Here, you can listen to real-life stories and naturally improve your English every day. Munich, Germany, December 1959. The walls are pale yellow. The kind of yellow that used to be white and gave up somewhere along the way. The chairs are wooden, uneven, placed by ordinary hands. One window is open on the left side, and cold air moves through slowly. The room is full. Not executives, not bankers, workers. People who arrived this morning the same way they arrive every morning, by bicycle, by tram, on foot. Their coats still carry the cold from outside. Their hands are rough at the knuckles, stained in the creases where soap does not always reach. Somewhere near the back, a chair creaks. Nobody turns around. At the front, a man in a good suit is speaking. He is explaining an offer. A powerful German bank wants to buy BMW. The debt will be cleared. Every job will be safe. The future will be stable. It sounds like rescue. He finishes. He looks at the room. He asks for the vote. The room goes quiet. Not the quiet of people thinking, the quiet of people who already decided. And then, slowly, hands begin to rise. Not for yes, for no. To understand why those hands went up, to understand what kind of company makes ordinary workers turn down safety, you need to go back. 43 years back, to a small factory, to one engineer, to one question that will follow this company like a shadow for the next 100 years. English moment. Refuse. To say no even when yes is easier. Those workers refused the money, refused the safe road. Remember that word. This whole story is built on it. Part 1. The Man Who Could Not Stop. Munich, 1916. The First World War is still killing people across Europe. Inside a factory on the eastern edge of the city, a man named Franz Josef Popp is standing at a drafting table. It is 11 o'clock at night. He is 30 years old. The factory around him is empty. The machines are cold and silent. The only sound is the scratch of his pencil on paper. The room smells of metal and oil, and underneath that, something harder to name. The smell of a place where people have been working very hard for a very long time. On the table in front of Popp is an aircraft engine design. 11 months of work. The engine works. The mathematics are correct. By every standard, it is ready to deliver. But Popp's pencil keeps moving. He marks 3 sections of the design. He circles them slowly. He will spend 6 more weeks on those 3 sections. Nobody asked him to. Nobody is paying him extra. The military does not know and does not care about the specific angle of one internal component. But Popp has a question he cannot silence. Not does it work. Not is it ready. Is this the best it can be? That question, asked alone at 11 at night in an empty factory with no reward, is where the entire BMW story begins. English moment. Precise, exact, correct to the smallest detail. No mistakes, no shortcuts. Pop was not trying to be good. He was trying to be precise. There is a big difference. By 1918, BMW's engines are the best in the German military. One carries a pilot to 9,700 meters, higher than any German aircraft has ever gone. For the first time, BMW has a name that people say with respect. And then history arrives, the way it always does, without warning. The first fall. November 1918, the war ends. Germany loses. The peace agreement, the Treaty of Versailles, contains one line that destroys BMW's world. Germany is forbidden from building aircraft engines. Pop reads the document on a Tuesday morning, reads it once, reads it again, folds it carefully, 4 precise folds, the way an engineer folds paper, puts it in the desk drawer, locks the drawer, stands up, walks to the window. Below him, the factory floor, the same machines that built the best engines in the German sky, silent now, going nowhere. He stands there a long time. Then he turns to the 2 men waiting behind him, says quietly, "We need a new list. Everything we can make that is not an engine. Bring it to me by Friday." Not grief, not anger, a list by Friday. English moment. Forbidden, not allowed, a door locked from the outside. BMW was forbidden from the only thing it knew how to do. Pop's answer, find another door right now. The cooking pot years. The BMW factory in 1919 makes cooking pots, bicycle brakes, household items, things that require metalwork but no greatness. There is a worker, history did not keep his name, so I will call him George, who spent 3 years as a precision machinist, building components for aircraft engines, working to tolerances most people cannot even imagine. Now he makes pot handles. Every morning he comes in, puts on his apron, stands at his station. And here is the thing, he makes them well. Not because anyone checks, not because pot handles need his skill, but because George does not know how to make something badly. Too many years of quality have made it a reflex, like breathing, like walking. So the handles are smooth where they need to be smooth, sturdy where they need to be sturdy. Excellence inside work that did not deserve it. That is the thread, the quiet, invisible thread that connects every version of BMW across every period of failure. The quality was never in the product, it was always in the people. Years later, far from this factory, a boy will hear the result of all this in 3 seconds on a road before school. But we are not there yet. English moment. Reflex. Something you do automatically without thinking, like catching something before it falls. Quality had become George's reflex. He could not turn it off even when the work was small. What is your reflex? Part 2. The Sick Engineer. 1921. The German economy is starting, slowly, unevenly, to come back. And in the BMW factory, a young engineer named Max Fries has been sent home sick. His supervisor told him to leave at noon. Fries said yes, put on his coat, walked to the door, and sat down in the corridor just outside it. He takes out his notebook. His pen begins to move. He is designing a motorcycle engine, not because BMW asked him to. BMW has not decided yet. Management is still discussing costs, weighing risks. Fries has already decided. He is simply drawing the proof. At 5 o'clock, the other engineers find him there, still in his coat, notebook on his knee, fever at 38 degrees, his pen still moving. One older engineer looks at the notebook, looks at Fries, says, "You're supposed to be at home." Fries looks up, eyes slightly unfocused, the way eyes look when someone has been very deep inside a problem. He says, "I know, but look at this." What he shows them, drawn in pen, on lined paper, with a fever, in a cold corridor, is the basic architecture of what will become the BMW R32. The engine mounted across the frame, not along it. Cylinders facing outward, cooled by air, balanced in a way no other motorcycle manufacturer has tried. The older engineer stares at it, says, "That's not how motorcycles are built." Fries says, "I know," turns back to the page. The BMW R32 appears at the Paris Motor Show in October 1923. A French journalist named Henri Perrier walks around it slowly, crouches, looks at the engine from below, stands, steps back, writes 4 words in his notebook. This machine appears considered, not fast, not powerful, considered, thought about deeply by people who would not stop caring. 4 words, the entire BMW identity. English moment. Considered, thought about carefully, with full attention. When something has been truly considered, you feel it, even if you cannot explain why.
Part 3. The Depression and Heinrich. 1929. The Great Depression reaches Germany. Banks close, businesses disappear overnight. Unemployment rises to a number that should not be possible, then keeps rising. BMW is not protected from any of this. In the winter of 1931, a factory floor manager named Heinrich Ostler is called into his supervisor's office on a Thursday afternoon. The meeting is 7 minutes long. When it ends, Heinrich walks out of the office, down the corridor, down the stairs, out through the heavy factory door. Outside, the sky is the color of old concrete. The street is wet and cold. He stands on the pavement. In his left hand is a small envelope, his final wages, calculated to the day. He has a wife, 2 children. They do not know yet. He stands there a moment, just a moment, looking at nothing in particular. Then he puts the envelope in his pocket, turns up his collar, starts walking. I do not know what happened to Heinrich after that day. History did not follow him home. But when people talk about companies as though they are logos and strategies and numbers on a page, I think about Heinrich. BMW nearly dying in 1931 was not a financial event. It was Heinrich walking home in the cold with an envelope in his pocket. Inside the factory, management made one decision that had no rational explanation. They cut everything they could, then spent money on one thing anyway: a new car design. Pop believed, without data, with only conviction, that the companies who survived the Depression would be the ones who came out of it with something worth buying. He was right. But before that could happen, BMW almost failed one more time. The near miss. Tension spike. 1932. The new car project is in serious trouble. The chief engineer on the project, a man named Rudolf Schleicher, walks into Pop's office one Tuesday morning and places a single sheet of paper on the desk. It is a cost report. The project is over budget. The deadline has passed. 3 of the 5 planned engine configurations have failed in testing. The 4th is showing cracks in the cylinder head after 30 hours of operation. Schleicher says, "We have money for one more test cycle. After that, the project stops." Pop looks at the report, looks at Schleicher, says, "Which configuration is still running?" Schleicher says, "Number 5, but it needs modification." "How long?" 3 weeks, maybe 4. Pop picks up the report, puts it face down on his desk, says, 3 weeks. Then we test. Schleicher leaves. Pop sits alone in his office. On the wall in front of him, a photograph of the Type 3A engine, the record-breaking engine from 1918, the one he stayed up until 11 at night to perfect. He looks at it for a long time. Then he picks up his pencil and starts working. Configuration 5 passes the test. 3 weeks later, by one measurement. 1. English moment. Configuration: 1 version of a design, 1 arrangement of parts. Out of 5 configurations, 4 failed. 1 survived by the smallest margin. Sometimes that is all it takes. 1 version that holds. Are you still running your version 5?
Part 4. 5 more minutes. 1935. The BMW 328 is being prepared for racing. A young engineer named Werner Breitschwert is running engine tests on a Wednesday afternoon. 6 hours of the same test. Results close to target. Not there. Close. His supervisor arrives at 4 o'clock. Says, "Good enough, we need to stop." Breitschwert looks at the data. Says, 5 more minutes. His supervisor says they need the testing bay. Breitschwert says, 5 minutes. He makes one small change to the fuel mixture, runs the test. The needle on the gauge moves, slowly, then steadily, past the target. He writes the number down, underlines it once, slides the paper across the table. His supervisor looks at it, looks at him, says nothing for a moment. Then, "You knew?" Breitschwert says, "I knew what it was." The 328 races across Europe from 1936. It wins almost everything. A racing driver named Fritz Huschke von Hanstein is asked why BMW drivers always seem to get more from their cars than drivers of other brands. He thinks, then says, "Other cars tell you what they are doing. A BMW asks you what you want to do." That sentence eventually becomes 4 words on BMW's advertising: the ultimate driving machine. You cannot put those words on something you did not earn. BMW earned it in a cold testing room at 4 in the afternoon when a young engineer said, "5 more minutes." The Boy, first full appearance. I need to stop here, because this story is not about a company. It never was. I grew up without much money, not hungry poor, but aware poor, always aware of the distance between where I was and where I wanted to be. I was 12 years old, autumn, cold enough to see my breath, leaves on the ground, the sky flat and gray. Walking to school, bag too heavy, thinking about something I was worried about, something small that felt enormous at 12. Then I heard something behind me, not loud. A sound coming from far away, growing slowly, controlled, like something powerful being held very carefully. I turned around before the car was even visible. It came around the corner, dark blue, low, moving with complete intention, and passed me in 3 seconds. Then it was gone. I stood there on the pavement in the cold, and I felt something I had no word for. Proof that somewhere in the world someone had refused to stop until what they were making felt exactly right. Not approximately, not close enough, exactly. I did not know it was a BMW. I was 12. I knew nothing about cars. But I knew, with the certainty that children have about things they cannot explain, that whoever made that sound cared in a way most people do not. And I thought, I want to be that kind of person, the kind who says 5 more minutes, the kind who draws in a cold corridor with a fever, the kind who locks the treaty in the drawer and asks, what can we build next? English moment. Proof. Real evidence that something is true. That sound was proof. You cannot fake quality that deep. It takes years to build.
Part 5. The Ruins. 1945. Munich is not a city anymore. It is the memory of one. Buildings that stood for centuries, rubble. Streets that led somewhere, nowhere now. The sky feels larger than before because the things that used to interrupt it are gone. The BMW factory is half destroyed. Franz Josef Popp, 59 years old, 30 years at BMW, stands at the edge of the ruined wing. It is early morning. The sun is just rising behind him. Long shadows stretch across the broken bricks and twisted metal. He is still. Then he bends down, picks up one brick from the pile, turns it in his hands, runs his thumb across the rough surface, brushes off the dust slowly, like he has time, sets it down carefully, separate from the rubble, alone, clean, like the first word of a new sentence. He straightens up, turns to the young assistant behind him, 22 years old, 8 months at BMW, not sure what he is about to be asked to do. Pop says simply, "Get a notebook." The assistant gets a notebook, and Pop begins. What to keep, what to clear, what to move first, who to call, what must happen this week and next month. His voice is not emotional, not inspiring. It is practical, a little too fast. The young assistant's handwriting gets smaller as he tries to keep up. That is how BMW's third beginning sounds. Not a speech, a voice that will not stop.
English moment. Rubble, the broken pieces left after something is destroyed. BMW rebuilt from rubble, twice. The brick Pop picked up was not special, but placing it separately, away from the destruction, was the act of someone who had already decided to begin again. Part 6. The Vote. Full scene. Now we return to that room, December 9th, 1959. But first, you need to understand how serious this moment is. BMW in 1959 is not the brand you know. It is struggling, real debt, a confused product range. The small bubble car of the 1950s, the Isetta, sold well for a time and then became a joke. The expensive sports cars did not reach enough people. The motorcycles were losing their market. BMW is running out of road. Deutsche Bank holds much of the debt, and Deutsche Bank has a proposal. BMW should be absorbed by Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes will clear the debt, keep the workers employed, provide the stability BMW cannot provide for itself right now. Rational, sensible, on paper, obvious. The meeting hall. The smell of coats and cigarette smoke and the warm, anxious air of too many people in one room. Standing at the back, along the sides, the wooden chairs all taken. Deutsche Bank's representative has spoken for 40 minutes. 11 times he said stability. 8 times he said security. Professional, thorough, reasonable. He sits down. The room is quiet. Then, somewhere near the back, a small sound, a chair creaking as someone shifts their weight. Then silence again. And then a man stands up. Not a banker, not an executive, a shareholder named Friedrich Mathern. He runs a hardware shop in Munich. He bought BMW shares in 1952 the way some people support a football club, not because it was rational, because he believed in it. He stands up. The room goes completely still. His voice is not loud, not prepared, not polished. He says, "I have watched this company come back from nothing twice. I watched it make cooking pots when it was forbidden from making engines. I watched it rebuild from rubble." Pause. I do not believe a company that has done those things should be absorbed by anyone. I believe it should be given one more chance to be what it is. He sits down. One person claps, then another, spreading through the room the way warmth spreads in a cold place. Not dramatic, not loud, just real. When the vote is called, the hands rise slowly, not with excitement, not with certainty, like people standing in cold water, deliberate, committed, not comfortable. The count is taken. The merger is rejected. Deutsche Bank's representative sits still for a moment, gathers his papers, stands, nods once, and walks to the door. The room exhales. Friedrich Mathern sits looking at his hands. The factory worker next to him, Thomas, a stranger to today, leans close, says quietly, "You think we were right?" Friedrich is still looking at his hands. He says, "I think we were honest." English moment. Honest, true to what you really believe, not what is safe, what is true inside you. Friedrich did not say correct, he said honest. Correct means you won. Honest means you were true, even with the risk.
Part 7. What the vote made possible. 1 year later, BMW hires a designer named Wilhelm Hofmeister. One instruction: make something we have never made before. Hofmeister believes in one idea. Most cars are designed outside in. You choose the look, then fit the engine inside. BMW should design inside out. Decide exactly how it feels to drive, then build the outside around that feeling. His team argues for 2 years, 6-hour meetings, designs rejected, starting again. Hofmeister draws the kidney-shaped grille, the double ovals that will become BMW's most recognized face 100 times, adjusting the proportions by millimeters, looking fresh every morning. He says it should look like the car is about to ask you a question, not tell you something, ask you something. The BMW 1500 is revealed in 1961. Within 3 years, BMW is profitable. Within 10 years, growing faster than almost any car company in Europe. Within 20 years, a global symbol. Friedrich Mathern buys a BMW 1500 in 1962. He drives it for 11 years. He never buys another brand. The Boy Return. I was 29 the first time I visited Munich. I stood outside the BMW museum, the building shaped like a silver bowl, with that particular feeling of seeing something you have thought about for a long time. Recognition and strangeness at the same time. I went inside. I walked slowly through everything, and I stopped in front of a 1936 BMW 328, racing red, low, built for speed, but also, you could feel it just standing near it, built to feel exactly right. I read about Breitschwert, 5 more minutes. I thought about Georg and his pot handles. I thought about Fritz in the cold corridor, pen still moving. I thought about Pop, 1 brick, separate from the rubble. I thought about Friedrich Mathern looking at his hands. I think we were honest. And standing there at 29, 17 years after that morning on the road, I understood what I had heard when I was 12. I had heard all of them. Every decision not to stop, every 5 more minutes, every pot handle made well when the work did not deserve it, every hand raised in cold water. All of it accumulated, choice by choice, year by year, into a sound that could travel down a road on a gray autumn morning and reach a boy with a too heavy bag, and say to him in 3 seconds, without a single word, "This is what it sounds like when people refuse to stop." English moment. Accumulated. Built up slowly, one small piece at a time. Not quickly, not in one moment, over years. You are accumulating something right now, too. What is it? The ending. Tonight, not tomorrow, tonight, think of one thing in your life that is in its cooking pot years. Something where you are working below what you are capable of. Something that does not yet look like what it will become. Write it down, 1 word, just the name of it. And next to it, write this: is this the best it can be? That question followed BMW for 100 years. It lived in empty factories at 11 at night, in cold corridors, in testing rooms at 4 in the afternoon, in a pale yellow meeting hall where ordinary hands rose slowly in cold water. One day, if you keep asking it, something you make will pass a child on a road. They will not understand it,
but they will feel it, and they will think, I want to be that kind of person. Thank you for listening. Share this with one person today. See you in the next one. Write 5 lines and comment, what did you learn from this story?